I've got my top 10 must-add hitters for this week in fantasy baseball, and that list is coming up next on Beat the Odds. Don't go anywhere. Hello, sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Beat the Odds. I'm going to give you my top 10 must-add hitters for Week 9 in fantasy baseball. If you like this content, then please smash that like button. A special thanks goes to all of our subscribers who have been watching these videos, as you now account for 18% of all viewers. To the other 82% of viewers that haven't yet subscribed, I encourage you to do so, as it helps me create these videos for you. Also, leave a comment on a player that you think deserves to be on this list. Do you have a burning fantasy baseball question? Ask me on Q. Go to askmeonq.com/beattheodds, submit your question, and for a small fee, I will personalize a response and send it to your email. It's super easy to do, and it's a great way to get fantasy baseball advice while also supporting this channel. So let's kick off this list. At number 10, we have Andy Ibanez, 6% owned, 7 runs scored over the last 2 weeks, 2 homers, 5 runs batted in, a stolen base, and a .286 average. Now, before we get too excited and rush to pick up Andy Ibanez in droves, keep in mind that he has not solidified an everyday role yet for the Tigers. He is a lefty specialist, so if you want to employ his services, make sure you're paying attention to when he's going to go in against southpaws. He does have 20 homer power if he plays a full season, but he is at best at bench bat in most fantasy baseball leagues. Let's go to number 9. We have Leody Taveras, 25% owned, 14 runs scored over the last 2 weeks, 2 homers, 6 runs batted in, 2 stolen bases, and a .304 average. If Leody played on any of 25 other Major League Baseball teams, then he would have a full-time starter's job regardless of who was hurt. But because the Rangers are investing in Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter, Taveras is simply a fill-in. That's really a shame, because he has shown that he can certainly contribute when given the time. Roster him now and drop him, of course, when everyone is healthy. Let's go to number 8. We have Shea Langoliers, 39% owned, 7 runs scored over the last 2 weeks, 3 homers, 11 runs batted in, and a .333 average. If we go off the premise that Shea Langoliers' batting average is unlucky, then he is an automatic add in any league. If he is able to get his average up to .264 while still displaying the elite batting skills that we're seeing, then there are very few catchers in this league that we can compare him to. That tells me that we may not have seen the best of him yet this season, and I would grab him to see what he can actually do. Let's go to number 7. We have Kevin Pillar, 11% owned. Over the last 2 weeks, he's got 8 runs scored, 3 homers, 14 runs batted in, 2 stolen bases, and a .483 average. It is an absolute pleasure to see Kevin Pillar making an impact again. He was one of my favorite all-time Blue Jays, and he's getting a good run in a depleted Angels outfield. Now 35, he is surprisingly still fast, and he has nabbed 5 stolen bases already this season. Although I do expect that his power is going to slow down, he may still be able to keep up a 20 stolen base pace for the rest of the year. Let's go to number 6. We have Jackson Merrill, 60% owned. Over the last 2 weeks, he's got 6 runs scored, 2 homers, 5 runs batted in, 3 stolen bases, and a .343 average. Going into the season as the 3rd-ranked rookie named Jackson, he has emerged as the best of the 3. He still has some issues chasing pitches out of the zone, but he's shown enough discipline to not do that on 2 strikes. He's displaying excellent contact skills and has some solid pop in his bat. Add to the fact that he's got some speed on the base paths, he could be up to a 2020 season by the time the year is over. Moving on to number 5, we have Connor Joe, 56% owned. Over the last 2 weeks, he's got 7 runs scored, 3 homers, 8 runs batted in, and a .289 average. Now, what is real and what is a mirage with Connor Joe? The .296 average he has so far for the season is backed by a .228 expected batting average, and his 6 home runs were wall scrapers over the left field fence. Now, that being said, he is firmly entrenched in a productive spot in the Pirates' order, and he's been very clutch in driving in runs. He's also a disciplined hitter, so I don't really expect his bat to go silent anytime soon. Moving on to number 4, we have Abraham Toro, 48% owned, 11 runs scored over the last 2 weeks, a homer, 6 runs batted in, a stolen base, and a .323 average. Why do I like Abraham Toro? Is it because he plays multiple positions? Well, yes, that's one reason. Is it because he doesn't strike out a lot? Yeah, that works too. He is a league average hitter that's on a heater and that has been promoted to the leadoff spot in the Oakland order. The switch hitter does need to walk some more to solidify his spot, but his contact skills will likely get him to stick in the leadoff spot. Let's go to number 3. We have Junior Caminero, 44% owned. In AAA this season, he's got 16 runs scored, 7 homers, 20 runs batted in, a stolen base, and a .314 average. Now, admittedly, I picked up all the Caminero shares I possibly could have a few weeks ago, but he's still available in more than 50% of leagues, and he's been tearing it up in the minors, so I felt it necessary to talk about him this week. He has been playing second base recently, and that might open up a path for him to make it to the majors with Brandon Lau currently injured. Get him now if you can. Moving on to number 2, we got Eddie Rosario, 34% owned. Over the last 2 weeks, he's got 11 runs scored, 4 homers, 8 runs batted in, 4 stolen bases, and a .375 average. Rosario is a strong side platoon player worthy of rostering. He's actually getting more starts right now because he's hot at the plate, and as long as he can continue to produce, he's going to get extra playing time. He's still hitting .181 for the season, but that is an aberration that is quickly correcting itself. The power is real, the speed is not, but he is still worth rostering until he cools down. And finally, at number 1, we got Brenton Doyle, 56% owned. Over the last 2 weeks, he's got 9 runs scored, 2 homers, 5 runs batted in, 4 stolen bases, and a .233 average. To say that Brenton Doyle's start is surprising is a gross understatement. We all bore witness to his elite defensive skills last year, and we're all starting to recognize how talented he is with the bat. He still needs to show some discipline, but he's displaying the 20 homer, 20 stolen base abilities that he showed in the minors. The fact that he's playing in Coors Field is a huge bonus, and that's why he needs to be picked up. And that's going to do it here for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like on the video, and of course, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I am going to sign off for now, but I will catch you guys on the next episode.